Okay. I want to talk about rest again. You notice a theme here if you've been around for a bit. I have a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs in some way. Lots of you in this space with me are an entrepreneur in some way. My husband and I are included. So this is a common theme, common thing that we talk about in our house, and something that I think about pretty regularly, how that impacts what we do in life and how what we do in life impacts our business, right? Like it goes both ways. So I've been thinking about how sleep and rest and taking breaks impacts entrepreneurs. And this could apply to you if you are a manager, CEO, someone in general who is in charge in whatever your career space is. So this can apply to many, many people. I'm again looking at it from the space of being an entrepreneur and the impact that being in business has on my sleep and my sleep on my business. So entrepreneurs often burn the candle at both ends. We have a tendency to always find things to do, even if we've accomplished the most important things already. The to-do list seems never ending as we hold ourselves accountable and often deem completing those lists necessary to being successful. Like we equate checking things off the list to our success. And so I looked, and according to a recent sleep report, some of the most famous entrepreneurs sleep anywhere from 5 to 8 hours. And you can check out a recent post or go to my website, to the blog, to get the full list. But for example, Mark Zuckerberg sleeps 5 hours a night. Jeff Bezos is 8 hours. Let's see, Bill Gates is 7 hours. So we have a low end and a high end, and it really just shows that there isn't a one size fits all sort of scenario when it comes to our sleep and being a successful business owner or manager of some kind. So you might be asking, what's the right amount of sleep for me? And here are my suggestions when it comes to rest as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone who is in charge of a lot of things. First, acknowledge that there are some seasons where things are busier and you might find yourself waking up earlier or staying up later to get everything done. With that being said, I strongly urge you to avoid doing this long term. This is where that burnout happens, which is a topic for another day, but burnout is not good. It's usually where entrepreneurs end up wanting to quit. We feel like we have nothing more to give, and we can be up all hours of the day, sacrificing so many things, and rest ends up being one of them. So know that there are seasons where things might be busier. There are seasons where things might be slower, and you can adjust your schedules based on that, but don't get stuck in the hustle and grind, staying up all day, all night situation long term. It's just not good for us in so many ways. The second thing is to set limits for yourself. So as an entrepreneur, again, there's work that can be done at any moment of any day, every day of the week. Like we can always create and find more things to do. So having these boundaries and setting expectations for what you can accomplish in one day, in 1 week, in 1 month, whatever that looks like for you, is important. So you may have heard me talk about this before, but if you have 50 things on your to-do list, our brain can't process it. We can't do it all. So maybe pick 5 of the most important things, start there, see how you do with that, and then add more things as you have time, but know that there is a cutoff. You're not going to finish those 50 things in one day. some things might need to roll over or be eliminated altogether. To add to this section, delegate where you are able. So find help for managing the kids' needs if you have a really busy season or a really hectic time, like period in your business. Know that you might need more help. You might need your spouse or your partner or your kids to help managing the household. Can someone else vacuum? Can someone else help prep lunches? Like, there may be pockets of time that you can find help and you can do a little bit more then, and you're not losing out on sleep because you're trying to stay up all night doing these things. If you have a team of people, assign them things to do. Don't do it all yourself. Know that everyone has a job and that they can help you, especially again during those busy times. The third thing is to try to find a stable sleep schedule. So what this means is to wake up and go to sleep within like a 1 hour window of time. So for example, going to bed between 10 and 11 p.m. and waking up between 6 and 7 a.m. And so this means that sometimes you might end up with 9 hours of sleep, and sometimes it might only be 7. But what happens here is creating this window of time where you are going to bed and waking up helps your body. Mostly it helps your brain, who is in charge of sleeping and waking, this cycle that we go through. It lets the brain know when it's time for rest and when it's time to be alert. So if you go to bed between 10 and 11 every night, your brain is going to be ready for that. If you are waking up between 6 and 7 a.m., your brain knows that this is the time to wake up and be alert. If you're going to bed at 8 p.m. one day, 11 p.m. one day, 1 a.m. one day, and then waking up at 8 a.m., 11 a.m., the body and the cycle of sleep-wake, our circadian rhythm, really doesn't function very well. And that causes a lot of problems that I could go into, but that's again for another day. Just know that if you can keep this window of time for your bedtime and this window of time for when you wake up, you will help your body know that that is rest. This is when we rest, which is huge, huge, huge to help us fall and stay asleep. So the last thing is to pay attention. So keeping a journal of your sleep schedule, noting how you feel each day can uncover a lot. So maybe you think you only need 6 hours of sleep and you are keeping track of this. You keep track of your mood, your energy, your movement, how you feel, like every aspect of your day. How do you really feel and what's going on with you? Maybe you find that those days where you only get 6 hours of sleep, you're short-tempered, you're impatient, you're less productive, you're struggling to make decisions, like all of those things. And then on the flip side, maybe if you get 7 or 8 hours of sleep, you notice that those days your mood is better, you feel better, you make decisions easier, you're more productive, you can manage stressful situations with a calmer, more thoughtful response, right? So pay attention to those things and what's happening for you on the days where your sleep changes, because you might notice some things that you didn't see or realize before. Like if we don't pay attention, a lot of times we don't realize it. And I always say that when we realize that there's a problem, that's where we can begin to fix it or make changes to moving forward. If we don't realize there's a problem, most of us just stay doing the same thing day after day, and we wonder why we're miserable. So you can decide from there how you want to show up. So what days do you show up well, and set your sleep time accordingly. So personally, I know that if I sleep less than like 7.5 hours, I generally feel off. Like I just don't feel quite right. The day feels a little bit chaotic usually. I'm more like foggy headed, like I can't quite process things as easily, and I'm usually less productive. If I get less than 6.5 to 7 hours, then I notice my mood is really impacted. I am impatient. I don't have time for anything. I'm rushing, and I just feel really stressed out when that happens. So, I would love for you to share with me if you try doing like a sleep journal and see what you notice. I'd be happy to talk with you about that. And see like what things are coming up for you. But I would love to know whether you're an entrepreneur or not, these things do apply. It's just that in business, we also have to have energy to do a lot of kind of behind the scenes things, and not getting sleep can really impact that. So how much sleep do you usually get? Do you feel like you're sleeping well? Do you feel like you're falling asleep, staying asleep? Or are these things challenging for you? And again, I invite you to reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation about what we can do together to help you get good sleep, because it is super, super important to all that we do. You can scroll back and look through some of my recent things. Go to my, again, my website, to my blog. I've been talking about sleep for a couple of weeks now because it is so crucial to so many things that we do in life. Everything we do in life, actually. We do not give sleep enough credit. Let's be real. So reach out, share with me, how much sleep do you get? How do you feel? And if you want to dig into it farther, send me a message, reach out, and we can chat one-on-one about your sleep and how it impacts you.